Why I get math error? What the?
Okay,
No,
we
no,
will
the square root is negative what?
going through the
Bro, my
conversion.
calculator.
So
I
we
got
have
math
to put -3 plus 3 squared minus 4, 5, -6. Be careful, -6. You won't get a maths error here. Because this one will become a plus. So what value did you get? Let me see the chat.
My calculator. What happened?
9 minus 4 times 5 times -6. That will give you 129. Try that.
0.8357.
Yes, 0.836. Significant figures.
Yeah.
So I think what you guys can do once this meeting ends, you can try all this exercise and you can submit to me via WhatsApp so I can see your workings and see where you guys can improve the answer for this, since we cannot cover all. So now let's do a little bit of priority for Charmaine here, which I think she has a bit of struggle for functions. So this is an important part when you want to make your values or x the subject, when you want to find your inverse functions. So for example, I'll just give one example where let's take number 7 for example. So when the question says m is equal to half x plus y, how do we find x? We multiply by 2 to give 2m. 2m is x plus y. Then we just minus it to get 2m minus y. What's our priority here? Get rid of the fractions, number 1. And move any variables like x plus y, you just minus 1 to get your answer. So let's try a little for our exercise here, how to find this in our equation. Maybe you could answer, how would you find express E equals mc squared, but this time you need to make m the subject in your formula. How would you do this?
Easy.
No, I want Shamin to answer for this. How would you get your subject of the formula here? M is the subject now, not E anymore. What would you do for this?
M equals to E over C squared.
All right. How about let's take things a bit to the next level. Let's express this in terms of C. How would you express it in terms of C?
Square root of E over M.
Wait. I want her to answer because I want to make this a priority because she needs a bit help here. So
Okay.
how would we work this? Express C squared first.
C squared equals to square root of E over M.
Wait, C squared is equal to E over M first. Then your C is equal to square root after you remove the square from it. C is equal to E over M. Square root of E over M. How about, let's say, the next question, question 8. How will you express V equals pi r squared h over 3 in terms of h? We want to make h subject now.
H equals to 3V over pi r squared.
Yep, that's good. So I think we should be almost ready to do the next part here. Let's give a little challenge. Y equals a over a plus 2. Anyone can try this. How do you express this in terms of a?
Maybe I try.
Yep, I actually struggled in this a little back in the days. The most important part here is to connect like terms together.
First a plus 2 times y
Is A.
to become equals to a. And
Yep.
then ay
You got
minus
express.
ay yes.
Plus 2y is A. Right.
A equals to ay plus 2y, and then
All the
take
A's we
away
make to
I.
one side. Yeah, we move all the A's to one side, even the one with AY.
Means is a equals to 1 minus y a. Okay.
2y over 1 minus y.
No, wait first. A.
I'm going to move it all to the side and A bracket 1 minus y. In case that, for example, let fx be x over x plus 2, what is f inverse x? So we need to know how to express it to work out. How about Yinzi? Are you okay with this part?
Doing.
Doing? Alright.
Oh, yeah, I got it. Wait, 1 minus 1.
Because you want to
I
move
moved the
all
wrong
the A's to one side so we can
Oh, yeah, minus, yeah.
place
Yeah,
in
got it.
brackets and then get this part.
Yeah,
So before we get into working out functions, what exactly is a function here? So think of it as a machine where you do an input of something and your result will be a different number. For example, let's say you have a machine that puts out, that adds 5 small values. So let's say we have 3, we have 4, we have 7. So in the end, it becomes 8, 9, and 12. So functions are like machines where they can add, divide, square, subtract, multiply things. So for example, if you want to add 2, it becomes fx, which means the function of x goes x plus 2. So if you have fx is x plus 2, then let's say what is the value of f5? You set x equals to 5. 5 plus 2, which is 7. You can also express functions as this dot here, although I usually like to put it in f bracket. If you have other functions, you can go g bracket x or h bracket x. So there is an easy way to visualize it out. For example, 2x plus 5, what do we do here? We multiply by 2 first, so we get 2x. And we add 5. Then we add 5. Or for here, we add 5 first, then we multiply by 2, because we multiply the entire thing now. So it becomes 2x plus. So if you do your operation in a different order, you produce different results. So be careful for here. So when questions want to ask, for example, 6 or -3 or half or this, you can just input this in your calculator. For example, x squared minus 3x. So if your value is f -3, so you go -3, you square it, -3, -3 to get 18. So let's do a little practice on a bit more extreme cases on this side. For example, your fx is already equal to 6. So how do we solve it? So we have to construct an equation for this, which is equal to 6, which is why x is 1.5. Or how about the next part where we have fx is equal to gx? So this part becomes a bit more complicated. you will need to set both of them equal to each other. Your results are equal to each other. And whether you can factorize it or you need your quadratic equation. So enough of the blabbering right here. Let's jump straight ahead to some exercises on how to solve this function. Anyone can participate for this first section. Let's start with, let's say, question 2. If fx is equal to 4x minus 1, let's quickly answer. What's f minus 1? Part A.
-5.
Correct. Someone else besides Alvin maybe participate. What's f0?
-1.
Yep, -1. f1.5, Yinzi, maybe?
5.
Yep. How about f-4?
-17.
Yep. Good. Now be a little careful here when they ask you to find fx or gx. So how about, let's say, f2? What would be the answer for this?
0.
The next question, 0. Yep. How about f-1?
-9.
-9. Yep. How about g5? So you need to refer to this part now. Be careful.
-2.
-2, right? How about g -2?
5.
5.
Let's give a little challenge to Xiaoming right here. If gx is equal to the square of 4x plus 1 and is equal to 5, what's x? Try constructing an equation first.
Hold on.
Anything?
Hold on.
How about Alvin? Let's try a little challenge here.
6.
How would we solve question 11? Fx is equal to 3. How would you solve this question? 11b. Yinzi, I'll give you the task for the next exercise 20.7.
Okay.
X equals to 2.
For 11b, wait, show your working.
Oh, okay. I type here.
Yeah, while we wait for question A to be done. Let me give a tip for this part is correct, but I mean when you write like this, just be a little more careful to add this bracket.
Oh, okay.
So 3x is equal to 4 plus x, 3x minus x is 4. Yes, correct. X equals 2. Your working is on point. Let's see for question 8. Your tip here is to get rid of the square root. 4x plus 1, square root of 4x plus 1 is 5. So 4x plus 1 Once you square it, it's also equal to 5 squared. So what do you get for x?
Um,
Maybe if you want, you can try like question 9. Fx is 6, fx is equal to gx.
9. Okay.
is it 6?
Yep. When you square it, you also square this section. So x is equal to 6. Let's see how Yinzi works this out. So we're gonna deal with a little trickier ones like composite functions, inverse functions. How do we work them out? So you can use
factorize this.
yes, you can factorize it for him. There we go. So you actually have two answers for this. Since there's no like given thing like x is more than 0 or x is lesser than 0. They have two answers. For the second part, what will you do here generally?
Fx equals to gx.
Yeah. Yep. Notice here we can cut out both the x. Like
Yeah, and then 2x.
so move the 3x to the other side. So 2x is negative 12.
Then this.
Yep.
Hey, no. Just
Yeah, correct.
open a-
Yes, yeah, correct.
Yeah.
All right. Great job from you guys from the other side here. Let's see how we deal with trickier functions for the next part. Hold on. Let's see how we deal with trickier functions this time. So we have composite functions where let's say you have f of x and g of x. Sometimes you want f g of x or g f of x. For example, let's say you have these two functions here, x squared minus 2x and 3 minus x. So if they ask g and f of 4, you actually need to solve f of 4. F of 4 will be 4 squared minus 2, right? Which will be 8. So always treat this as your separate bracket first. So it's equal to g of 8, which is equal to negative 5. Same thing for stuff like f of negative 1, g of 100. Where, let's say, if you want to go part D here, treat this as your bracket first. We want to solve the inner part first. After solving the inner part, we get negative 97. And once we get 3 minus negative 97, you get 100. So things usually get more complicated. Sometimes they want you to ask of x instead. Let me see if there is. Not here. Let's say if you wanted to do let's say fgx. How would we approach this problem for this question? Maybe Charming want to answer this? Like to answer this? What would we do for this?
We do the we solve FGX first and then GFX.
Wait. FGX first. So what do we do for FGX? We have to tackle the inner problem. So what do we do for this?
Which question is this?
Work example 16. We are just practicing how to find FGX.
Okay.
Can you understand this part, the part that I've written? If you have any questions, you can ask me anytime.
Not quite.
All right. So how do we approach this problem when we have fg of x or gf of x? So when we go to our example 16 right here, the function that was given to us, we have x squared minus 2x, and then for gx, we have 3 minus x. So what do we do? What's the problem we have to solve when, let's say they ask us, let's say fg of x. So when you approach questions like this, you have to tackle them from the inner problem first. So our inner problem here is, like I put in brackets here, g of x. So what's g of x? Like the question gives us 3 minus x. So fg of x is equal to f bracket 3 minus x. So you have to substitute your 3 minus x into your equation here. So this time your x here is 3 minus x. So you have 3 minus x squared minus 2 bracket 3 minus x.
Okay.
So what would you do for, let's say, g and then f of x? What will you do for this question?
We solve fx.
So you have to tackle the inner problem first. X squared minus 2x. So when you get x squared minus 2x, you need to replace this in x. So as a practice, we try this question in the exercise here. Let's see how you would tackle the question in terms of the value. It's a bit confusing, but it's pretty simple once you get. All right. Would you care to try question 8? Let's say 8A and 8B. How would you go through this? You can write it on paper and then you can upload it to me on WhatsApp so I can see clearly. We don't have much time left, so I want to quickly cover this and in the inverse functions to solve it.
The fgx would be x squared plus 36 square.
Yep, correct. Because when you root x squared plus 36 to the power of 4, half times 4. Right. How about gf of x?
Is it square root of 8x to the power of 8 plus 36?
Yes, good. Because when you go x squared, you x to the power of 4 and you square it 4 times 2. All right.
Yes.
Let's give everyone a little higher of a challenge. Little bit of. Let's show that f of x is equal to x. How will we solve it? It's just the same. You're just going to solve the inner problem first, and then you have to put it in your equation again. How will we tackle this part?
We write down the function, the ffx. Should I type it in?
I'll just roughly write what we are supposed to do here. So f of x is essentially equal to f of x plus 1 over x minus 1. So working will be a little troublesome here. We have to plug this here right up into the working to get f of x. To get x. But yes, composite functions, that's a good job there. Now, before this meeting ends, let's just go over to the final part, which is inverse functions. So we have the function. Now, we want to reverse the function. Sometimes for easy equations, it works. Let's do an example. Let's say if you have f of x, is your function is x plus 5. So think of it as a machine. I will just draw like something close to machine. So let's say x here, and then you transfer on a machine plus 5. So how will we reverse this process?
X minus 5.
How about let's deviate a little. Our machine becomes 3x minus 9. So how will we do this reverse part?
Three x plus 9.
Be careful here. So you have to multiply by 3. Step 1, multiply by 3. And then you subtract by 9. So when you reverse your step, you have to add 9. And then you divide by 3.
Okay.
So your step becomes x plus 9 over 3. So now, sometimes we can't really imagine these situations that well. So this is where rearranging your equation to make this your subject is important. So let's have a look at things like functions where we have, let's say, 3x minus 4. So when we set an equation, let's pretend that y is your final output, which is equal to 3x minus 4. So now we make x the subject. Like how we work from the previous part. Once we get this subject here, we become f inverse x. We cannot put y here, so we have to change this back. That's over 3. So this is open to everyone. Let's go over some exercises on how to perform inverse functions. Let's give a little trick question to Elvin. Elvin, for question 5b, without any working, could you tell me what the answer is for 5b?
Yeah.
Without any working.
Without any working, I didn't do working. Let me see.
Yeah, let's challenge you a little. What will you get for this?
So the inverse function is x over 2y. So the inverse function is x over 2 minus plus 3 goes to y. Yeah. Then
They cancel each other out.
yes. Until
Because if you do the reverse function and then you do the function, you just go back to square one.
yeah, so
Yep.
the answer is 34.
How about Yinzi? Let's do a little bit of work here. Let's say for question 6. For question 6, how would you find G inverse of x? And then Xiaoming, I want to ask, how do you find F inverse of x? Maybe both of you can write your workings down at the same time. So the task to do here just before it ends. Yinzi finds G inverse of x, Xiaoming finds F inverse of x. How would we get the answer here? F G x equals to y, not G inverse. Okay.
Mine would be f x equals to y, is it?
Yep, fx equals to y. So y equals half x plus 5. How do you rearrange to make x the subject?
Hold on.
Yes.
Yep, Yinzi is correct. We need to find how to get your F inverse, your composite function. And also maybe since once we get our answers, Alvin could help us with part D. How do you get the values of F inverse, G inverse? Let's say F inverse of -2, F inverse F of 3. Although your secret trick here is to cancel this out. So we have only a minute left. How will we find F inverse of X? Make X the subject.
Yes.
So Y equals to half X plus 5. You subtract by 5 and then you multiply by 2. So what do you get for F inverse of X? X minus 10?
Yes. Then question D1 is
Negative 56.4.
negative 56 minus 2
Over 5.
5.
I think this
Then-
meeting is going to end here, so you guys could do this exercise and then send it to me. And also try this extra question. How do we find G inverse of this?
Okay.
Right. Sorry for rushing this a little. If you guys are still not clear about this, you feel free to